Obviously, I gotta ask you, you know the players, you've been watching the Pro League, Hive versus Gods. Who's your favorite going into this?
Yeah, I mean, Hive has been looking very, very strong lately, right? They did, I believe, beat Mazer recently. A lot of good wins under their belt, sort of as they do get into that Pro League. Keep in mind, they qualified for the Pro League through the LCQ. They actually didn't even make it through sort of the Sunday qualifier. So definitely a team who got in by the skin of their teeth, but have made their mark on the Pro League so far. You mentioned Gods kind of struggling up until this point.
Sure.
So I'm kind of feeling the Young Guns today. I think I'm feeling Hive.
All right, Hive is going to be Ryan's pick. Me, I have no idea. So I'm just going to wait to see what the answer is going to be at the end of this series. On your screen, it is, in fact, going to be Demise with a nice chunk there onto, looks like a frag out for the time being. Obviously, spawns are, in fact, going to be a little bit higher, but already Hive going for the domination, and they might just get it, but B is going to be broken just in time.
Yeah, so now Hefe and Noe got to decide, are they going to allow their teams to win that fight at B? It looks like they have won. It's Speedy's going to be taken down over at the home hill, and that will be the triple cap that will give the Young Guns on Hive a 2-1 lead. Of course, we did miss the first couple of rounds, but looks like it started off with Gods taking the first one, Hive taking the second, and now they have extended their lead to the third. And as look at these respawns, things are looking good for the COG team. Noxious only with 2 respawns, and we're only on round number 4.
2 respawns, round number 4. That's kind of crazy. I know you get a total of 5 of them. You've kind of been talking, maybe, theory crafting, maybe lowering it down to 4 to kind of maybe have the players kind of really think about going for that respawn, whether it be the first or the second half. I think that's a good idea overall, but some changes might be happening. I know one change is going to be happening, you said, tomorrow with the Melee.
Yeah, I think I saw a tweet saying that tomorrow is the day where the Melee is going to be changed. Of course, the Melee very, very strong right now. It sort of has become some of the meta, so to speak, when it comes to individual fights. So definitely something that I'm looking forward to seeing a change on. I think that Coalition even kind of said they might have overtuned it a little for release, so definitely good to sort of bring it back home and see what kind of effect it has on the gameplay.
And I know the boom shot as well just got a recent buff, which I guess it needed, right? It was a bit inconsistent, so we'll see how that's going to be panning out tonight overall. But it looks like the kill feed is going to be all blue, as it was in fact Noe and Tidy who managed to pick up a couple of kills themselves. Right now we're going to be at a standoff, Gods with the minor lead, but we do see an answer back from Kyle and Sleepy, as Sleepy is going to come through and take out Noe for the time being. And I know you mentioned a player just a little bit earlier who was down in respawns overall. And
that's Noxious.
It's going to be Noxious. He's only down to 1.
Yeah, so we are heading towards kind of halftime, right? We are in that round 4, but still, never want to see that 1 out of 5 sort of on that respawn screen. You got to definitely think about the moves you make, think about sort of whether or not you want to be sort of one of those players up towards the front of the fight. And as you're seeing a fight ensue over at B, it looks like the trip cap noise is going to come in. The Gods are starting to clean up. Luckily for Hive, they have taken back control of that E-hill. You're going to see TJ and Tidy making sure they at least stay in this round, give their teammates some time to respawn back up, and try and see if they can go for a retake over at B.
God's doing a great job maintaining B and C. Still have that minor lead. Still plenty of time to go before we have a winner come out here. Noxious in a very tough position. We talked about his number of respawns. He's getting double team finally taken out. He's eventually going to be finished off, of course. And he got picked up. So very clutch play.
Very, very big play coming out from Gods, keeping Noxious alive. As you mentioned, 1 respawn. So had he gone down there, that would have spelled quite a bit of trouble. He manages to be saved at the last second by Kyle, so great plays by him. Gods looking like they are in total control of this round. You can see that time just ticking. One thing I know, I said, this is our first time doing Gears 5 at the UMG studio. Now the time goes 2-1 when you have those 2 hills, so you just see that swarm time flying up in comparison to that blue number. So if you're Gods right now, you're feeling good. You're just trying to play defense.
Yeah, I didn't like doing math before. Never been good at it. Doing the 1.5 plus 3 to equal out to, I don't know, 210. I don't know, man. It's too hard for me.
That was like half the coaching thing during live events, right? Just keep it track. If you win by 1, if you win, you need to get a break here, break there. You're doing a math equation in your head at the time. So definitely like the fact that they made that a little more streamlined, a little easier to follow. And of course, now the screen also tells you can see at the top, Swarm will win in 18 seconds if things carry on this way. Hive has to make a big last-second split push. Heading over towards C right now. Don't see a lot of action of B just yet. If that hill starts to get broken, that could be something worth fighting for. But yeah, it looks like that drop shot coming in. All the resources of Gods over at C. Nothing Hive can do. The boys on Gods are going to tie this up at 2-2.
And it kind of all started off with Noxious going down, but getting picked up on the Gods side. Now, granted, they had the lead before that, and they definitely had some nice map control, but a 5v4 is obviously tough to go through. Now Noxious, he's going to be coming back in. Now he's got a spare life to deal with. He's got 2 now, so maybe he can make some bold pushes if he so decides. Maybe throw 1 life away, getting, a bit testy. kind of curious to see what his overall strategy is going to be. Normal tree being built, obviously drop shots on both sides, and they're going to start building the one on top potentially, maybe even attempting for something in the middle, but there it is, another drop shot. As you see, pretty normal stuff overall, business as usual.
Yeah, definitely a very, very common placement. Of course, both teams having the respawn time on that drop shot, making sure they can get in the fight that much quicker with it. Of course, so many times you do sort of see that sort of drop and boom meta, happening before your eyes. The drop shot still, despite the boom buff, is definitely the stronger of the two at the highest level. So definitely no surprise to see those two things built first.
TJ looking to get a bit froggy and leap. A couple players off in the distance. Frag out though, getting the testy onto Bravo. He's doing a great job bobbing and weaving. Oh, and a B is not in fact going to be captured as Hefe pushes in, takes Frag out, of course, with a nice drop. A couple players just around the corner. Hefe will spot Speedy, goes in on the attack, and a nice melee to drop him, but eventually he's going to be finished off. Noxious coming through. A nice kill on the Hefe.
It looks like Noxious trying to chase Abertide. He has a teammate with him. They are going to get the down. He has to make sure he stays alive. Get a couple nice shots, make sure he gets his health back. Things once again looking in God's favor. They do have those numbers. TJ begins to equalize him. See, he has his eyes set on Kyle. Kyle going for that break, maybe even going to get the full cap. TJ Demise rotating over there, as are the members of Gods. We have sort of a 2v3 situation going down at this B hill. The hill, though, will be capped by Gods. The push comes in. Can the boys on Hive play defense? The answer so far is no. Sleepy gets one. Sleepy gets two, and B will be completely taken over by Gods. Beautiful plays coming in from Sleepy.
Yeah, Demise and TJ, they get that break. That could have been big. Gods remaining in control. The scoreline was very close up until that point. Still close, in fact. Hive can turn things around for the time being. Noxious, though, did in fact lose a life just a little bit earlier. So he's back down to that one life kind of, scenario. He's got to obviously play very cautious, and it does take him out just a little bit. But he won last round with his team, and maybe he can do just the same here. As it looks like TJ is, in fact, going to make some moves. Kyle goes down, and B will, in fact, be captured over to the Hive side. So they'll start regaining, that point deficit just a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about before how the 2-to-1 split on the hills. Now you can see then they'll already get that B hill back, how quickly they're closing that gap, right? You can even see at the top of your screen that the COG team is in position to win if the hills stay that way. So another thing I just say, I can't say enough how much more I prefer this 2-to-1 split on the hills. Is Noxious going to lose that 1v1 to Demise.
That's big.
Frag out in front of him as well. Demise has some help. Look at Hive going wide, using that team fire. Frag out knows nothing he can do. I'm loving the teamwork that I'm seeing from this young team on Hive as they are about to take that lead from Gods.
Well, see, that was big, right? Demise was sitting at 1 life himself. Noxious was sitting at 1 life. So that fight between Demise and Noxious was critical, and Noxious now down to 0 lives for himself. Demise winning that gives the advantage over towards Hive. A nice drop to go onto Kyle. No, he's going to be pushing in 2 players that he has to battle out, unfortunately. No, he is going to get dropped by Speedy, but Hefe coming onto the side, potentially shaking things up a bit, but he's going to go ahead and OE back, maybe preserve his life just a little bit. Time is clicking away, and the Swarm is about to take it.
I like this play by Hefe, knowing that he's down in numbers over at that B hill, going to at least head to A, try to take up some of the time from Gods. Looking to get that break. Unfortunately, there's a drop shot waiting for him. Kyle playing some great defense over at his home hill. Looks like nobody is going to get that break on B until it is far too late. So while I like the heads-up play coming out of Hefe, just wasn't enough, not enough time to execute that, and it's going to be Gods as we head into the last round of the half, leading 3-2.
It's awesome to see, right? Gods is playing incredibly well, going through the elims here. Tidy's having a great game at 23, but the rest of his team hopefully can get behind him and continue that lead over onto the side, or at least regain that lead from the side of Hive going into round number 6. Of course, the trees are going to be picked. We're going to be finding out what's going to be laid down for the time being. Overall, it's not going to change too much. They'll start building on top, but we're about to go into the second half relatively soon. And overall, I mean, you've been watching the same game that I've been watching. I'm just seeing some critical kills. Gods, obviously, their map positioning is looking good. Anything Hive can do to answer back.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, both teams are doing pretty well with the power weapon. Of course, they're utilizing the drop shot. I'd say you're seeing sort of a mix between them using it both offensively and defensively. I think for Hive, like I said, it's getting control of that fight over at B. There's been a couple times where the fight has looked good for them, but it's been Gods who gets there a little bit quicker, right? It brings one more member over there and takes that fight, takes the numbers. So I think if you're Hive, like I said, you need to rotate over to B, I think, a little bit quicker because they continue to kind of lose that fight over there.
Good stuff from Frag. Does he decide to go to backtrack? It looks like he will be doing just that. Tidy to help out onto Noxious. Still 1 life for himself. I love the fact that Noxious still isn't scared to get up in the face up to the side of Hive. Demise on the Kyle. Actually, God's looking like they're going for the trip cap already. Demise knows he needs to kind of change things up a little bit. Tidy's going to be joining him, pushing Kyle and Noxious back. And they should be able to gain control of B potentially. At least the neutralization happens, and that's going to be at least enough for the time being. But you see God's going for the double home hill setup for the time being. I love their rotations. They're moving around the map quickly.
Yeah, Gods are taking control of pretty much every objective on the map so far. Hive without even their home hill in their possession. You're going to see Noe taking out Sleepy, trying to at least get them back on the board. Meanwhile, the members of Gods starting to clean up some of these kills. Big lead coming in for the Swarm team right now. Of course, this is the last round of the half, so respawn economy doesn't really matter right now. Of course, you got to keep track of your respawns, but you got to use every single one you have. They're going to reset after this round. Let's see what Hive can do to kind of claw back in this.
Noxious has a great overlook, kind of pace out the game, see where Hive is going to be going. Gods are in control, right? They got a massive point lead. They don't need to get crazy at all at this point. Hive now start making a desperation push soon. You see him stacking onto Bravo, and the drop shot is going to get him started. Kyle goes down from that. Hefe trying to take a nice little angle peek onto frag outs. He's going to get pinned up for the time being, but a bait and switch as Tidy goes on to frag out, and the chunk is going to occur. Meanwhile, Demise is going to take out Sleepy, and Hive is making a great push. B is now going to be in their control. And you see TJ looking to go onto the strike onto Noxious. Hive is making a great push here, and they might be able to turn things around.
Yeah, they know they got to go right now. They're not in position to win with that 2-cap. They're down by almost 100 points. Keep in mind, too, this is short spawns. Now in Escalation 2, you have your shortest spawns towards the end versus Escalation 1, where your longest spawns are towards the end. So despite them getting that nice wipe at B, the members of Gods were able to spawn up pretty quickly. Gods kind of knows that Hive is coming. Hive has one win condition. It's got to be up to God to play defense, and if you're Hive, you need to do everything you can to get control of that C hill. Even a break or two could help, right? Because you have those two hills, you're going to close the gap fairly soon. I think that one break's going to be what they're going to need.
This might be their last opportunity to do so. They are running out of time and fast, and it looks like Hive is going to be pushing in, and you see C is in fact going to get broken, and it's going to be 3 players, 4 players taking it from Gods, though, bringing Hefe, the last one alive, and in just against all odds, Gods have recovered, and it's all due, of course, to Speedy coming out and Sleepy as well, getting a couple of those kills. Now Gods, they're going to be making their presence known in the map, and it looks like it is going to be their game to win, or at least their round to win, rather. We're going into the second half with them leading 4-2.
Yeah, great job by Gods, basically knowing that because Hive had one win condition, they sat back and put all their resources onto that home hill, knowing that that's all Hive could do to win the round. They played it beautifully. Like I said, they used their team fire. They started to chain together some kills, and they made sure that despite getting that break, Hive could not get the team wipe they needed.
Fantastic work from them, turning things around, because it was definitely looking grim. Now, of course, we go into the second half, and you got to be thinking, Gods, they have a nice lead. Hive easily could turn things around, and it was that fight onto Artillery, onto Bravo. That was the biggest focal point. Now we're going to move down to Bunker, onto E, and Gods, typically off the initial, has done a fantastic job of keeping Hive at bay and getting their home hill plus E setup. We'll see if they'll be able to do the same just here. Sleepy tags up TJ. He's going to let Frag Out go in for the time being. Finally, TJ is going to drop. That's 2 down for Hive. Gods still 5 up. They've got map positioning. They're all over on E. They're going to have D and E once again. Gods in control. I mean, it's business as usual from first half to second.
Yeah, I mean, their initials look very, very strong. This is their map pick, right? So they felt very comfortable coming into this Bunker map, and it's definitely showing, right? Their initials have been very, very strong. They've started out in control of many of these rounds. It seems like it's always sort of Hive who are clawing back into the map, kind of versus taking control themselves. See them trying something a little new, going for that sort of D and F split. Let's see how Gods kind of starts to react.
Well, clearly Noxious.
Good start, right?
Yeah, I love this fight between Noxious and Demise. It started in the first half. They were both of the guys who were low, at least on the respawn economy, and it seems as if they always find a way to meet up with each other, and it's either Demise winning or Noxious winning. They both have had their moments overall, but I'm curious to see how that battle between those two are going to keep heating up. I got to say, Tidy holding his own. He needs to take out Speedy for the time being. Noe, he's going to go ahead and apply that pressure onto Sleepy. And players are dropping left and right onto the side of Gods. Hive looking to turn things around.
Yeah, good job by Hive, taking back control. Maybe the second half can be a little more in their favor, right? They didn't do so well over at that B fight. Maybe this E hill will serve them a little better in this second half. We're going to go ahead and take that lead back. Drop shot in the hands of Hefe. Members of Gods, keep in mind, like I said, these are going to be long spawns, so it's going to take Gods a little bit longer to get back into the play. Now Hive has time to set up and kind of react to whatever Gods throws at him next.
Right now, Very slow, taking their time. Noe trying to catch Noxious off guard.
In this hill sometimes, yeah, it's so hard to push you. You can just see the elevation of it, right? If you have control, if you have a setup up there, it can be very, very difficult. You have to get some well-placed utility. It looks like God so far trying to answer back with these numbers as Speedy takes out TJ.
And it is interesting, right? Because, like you said, the enemy team has to go up that elevation. You can already see them come. Oh my gosh, as Speedy gets a nice kill onto Noe from a distance. Answered right back by Hefe, though, who doesn't waste any time getting that revenge kill. Still, it's going to be 2 down for Gods. Hefe's tagged up. He's going to go ahead and dip out of there for the time being. But I don't know. God still trying to turn things around. Hive, though, very much so in control. And you got to be thinking, Gods, this is going to be about their last-ditch effort to try and turn things around. They've got to get over to D and fast. Yeah,
things are looking good for Hive right now. They can play the sort of waiting game. If the E-Hill stays neutral, that is going to be just fine for our young guns over on the COG team. So you can kind of see them playing a little conservative, sort of letting Gods be the ones to make the aggressive push. Looks like it's working so far. Speedy's going to drop Noe. Luckily for Tidy, it's going to have that drop shot. That drop shot's going to basically be sort of their biggest line of defense on that home hill. They know that even if Gods gets a 2-cap, it won't be enough. You're going to see COG team will still win in 20 seconds. Basically, all they got to do now with those 2 drops is make sure they shoot those rockets onto the hill. One of them ends up actually going down, though. This could be rough. You're going to see Hefe heading towards that E-hill. Keep in mind, Hive just needs to keep control of F. Watch for that ring. As long as that ring stays up, which it's currently being dropped a little bit. Can they hold it? They still have it. Neutral, it gets broken. All they need to do is it one more cap. If Gods can manage to keep it broken, which it does not look like they can. Sleepy almost made the impossible happen. Unfortunately, ended up going down too little too late from Gods. That got a little exciting at the end.
It did, yeah.
But we still had the round for the COG, and that's going to keep us at 3-4.
It almost looked like the last round before the half, right, where Gods made that break, and it seemed as if Hive might have been able to keep things at bay, but it ended up with Hefe being last alive, and then Gods were just able to hold on just a little bit longer, take over that victory, and bring it 4-2 into the second half. Good stuff from Hive, turning things around kind of towards the middle portion of the game, because, right, Gods won the initial. They did great slaying out, and Hive, collectively as a unit, was able to push up that elevation, take over E, and from there, gain map control, and take over that round from Gods. And good stuff from them. We'll see if they can continue that momentum pushing forward. And the first Marksza is going to be placed down. Kind of curious to see how that's going to play in effect, but hey, you got to place something there. Might as well place that.
Yeah, the Marksza, of course, got a nerf fairly recently. Of course, the community very, very vocal about but hopefully getting that Marksza fixed. So definitely like to see Coalition kind of answering back and giving a nerf to it. Is definitely not as strong as it used to be. Of course, still a very, very good secondary weapon, but not as sort of map controlling as it used to be. So I like to see kind of players use it now because it just takes a little more skill to use than it did before. Let's see what these players can do now that they have it in their hands. It's going to be Kyle, of course, with that Marksza, who is one of the better known Marksza players from Gears of War 4. Sleepy, I don't think Tidy knew he was there because Sleepy just kind of waltzed right around there and got the easy chunk.
Straight up to him and chunked him. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, the initial once again looking like it's in God's favor. Hive to get the cap, but the kills definitely going in the Swarm's favor. It's going to be 3 members down over for Hive. Sleepy looking over towards that bunker area. See what he can do. He's going to get flashed. Noe going to try and kind of go over towards that hill. It's just stuck between a rock and a hard place. There's not much he can do. Despite that hill being capped early by Hive, it's going to be Gods against the 2-cap.
But, I mean, they had this advantage in the previous round, and it all fell apart towards the later part of the round where Hive was able to turn it around, go through, and, of course, cap it at 250. So Gods has been here before, and hopefully they can kind of capitalize on the mistakes previously. Tidy's got a good overhang position onto Kyle. They'll go ahead and try and keep Gods at bay for the time being, but they've got to find a break, and that's a long distance to traverse, of course. Hefe, though, he's not going to make quick work of it. Pushes forward, but chunks are going to be coming all around. Kyle onto Tidy. Can't pick up Hefe in the meantime. Sleepy's going to apply that pressure. But look at the aggression from Hefe. I like it. He's going to get one, get the trade. Tries to get pickup. Not going to happen. And all that effort for what? God's still in control.
Yeah, you can see Hive doing everything they can to get some of these numbers back over towards this neutral hill. TJ Hanging out sort of under those two players. Here comes the drop shot. That could be the catalyst that Hive needs to push. You see the first elimination comes in that gave them the break. They can get the cap. It's still early enough in the round, or if they can secure this 2 cap, they will build the lead back. Seen a bit of a role reversal now. Before, it was Gods kind of just weathering the storm over there, making sure they control the hill. Now the hill is in Hive's hands. What can Gods do now to try and get this hill back in their favor? Because look at how quickly that time is starting to close.
Absolutely. Respawn economy seems to at least favor currently Hive. But I do notice a couple of players are going to be at 2 respawns. That's Fragout, Kyle, and then for the side of Gods. On the other side for Hive, that's going to be Tidy. So some players to kind of watch out for. Kyle on your screen, taking his time. You see this so often. Can he get demise? He's going to get at least a hit, but he's not going to be able to get the full finish. That's going to give him the momentum to push forward onto E. Looks as if Gods might be able to cap this very soon. Demise coming up close, and Kyle will get dropped onto all 4s, and that's a good win for Noe to take control again, but Speedy's right there to answer back.
Yeah, I mean, Hive just basically needs to not allow Gods to get the cap on that neutral hill, but it looks like Speedy's going to get that elimination and actually head over towards the D hill and get that break. If Speedy can get this break, that will almost surely give them the win. Unless Hive control that E hill. Looks like they have. The fight comes over towards the home hill. The break comes in. Hive has managed to actually secure that E hill, and that's going to be the difference maker. Speedy made a great play to get out there, but by doing that, he left the neutral hill wide open. Hive waltzed right in and basically capped it 1 for 1. So one heads-up play was met with another, and now we find ourselves sitting at 4-4. It looks like the second half so far has definitely favored the COG team.
Yeah, absolutely right. And Hive, like I said, once again, the initial's been great for them. Gods have kind of been hanging in, but it's all about those in-game rotations, and Hive is definitely capitalizing overall. Upgrades going through. We got the drop, the boom, and another boom on the other side. So it's going to be a lot of splodes happening all around. I'm excited to see it. Yeah. We used to call this a fiesta, but now it's we can't really be overused. It'll be a fiesta every single game.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it now, just life's a party. You know what I'm saying? We're keeping the fiesta going at all times.
Ryan, for you, life is a party, baby.
You know I like to get. Booms and drops everywhere, baby. So here we go. You're going to see both drop shots sitting at 75 seconds. Of course, the boom shot's just being placed. They're going to be at 150, so you're going to see a lot more drop shots per round than boom shot, at least for the time being. Looks like Noe is going to put that power weapon to use first, picking up that kill on the frag out. So no one's quite hopped on that E hill yet. The fight's still sort of starting to slow down with those rockets in the line. Just so you can see, just with the elevation involved, Taylor, right? That E hill becomes a little harder to cap. You have a drop shot looking over. You have the boom shot looking over, and that is exactly what I was alluding to right there. If you get in that hill, if you go for that cap, you're going to be likely met by one of those splodes, and you saw it right before your eyes. Both boom shots, I believe, and drops used for each team now, so we're back on board with some of the base weapons. See the fight starting to ensue. Hive trying to get those numbers. It's going to be 3 coming in for Gods that go down. Can it be 4? Noxious stuck between 2 people, trying to get one on the way out. He gets Noe. Beautiful plays by Noxious. Might even be able to get 2 now. 1v1 versus Tidy. The shots are coming in from both teams. Tidy trying to play so perfectly. He steps back. He makes the smart play, and it pays off. Teamfire coming in. It's going to be Sleepy who picks him up. Fights coming in, trades back and forth. Demise going to pick up Sleepy now. 4v3 situation for Hive. They are going to finally, when the dust clears, get that neutral hill. That was a hell of a ride to get there.
Absolutely. I mean, that was a lot
of
bodies
keep up with
dropping.
it all.
It's a lot of play-by-play, man. It's tongue twisters, man. I'm telling you, sometimes these fights get absolutely insane, and you saw that just there. Now Hive in control on E and F, applying that pressure up. Demise, though, finds Fragment in the corner, just misses the chunk, forced to back up for the time being. Hefe will be providing, of course, some added backup fire. Tidy 2, and Gods are going to be stacking up on these 3. Trying to overtake out.
You kind of see how difficult it can be at times, right, to get into that neutral hill. So you're going to see Gods elect to push for that double home hill. The kills are starting to come in. Their push is looking like it's paying off right now. We're currently sitting at a 5v3 in favor of Gods. Spawn's starting to get a little slower, so those players on Hive should be back in the fight before you know it. Demise missed that first back A. Got to make sure he doesn't miss the second one. He's going to pick up Speedy, and that's going to keep the home hill in their hands. Meanwhile, though, the resources were spent over at the home hill. Gods jumped right into that neutral. They got a hold of it, but the kills are coming in from Hive. They're coming in for Gods. Frag out with a big 2-piece. What can Demise do? Him and his teammate are sitting there. Hefe's coming in from the back. It looks like a 3v2 situation coming for Hive over at this neutral hill. Fragout knows he has nowhere to go. Beautiful rotations coming in from Hive. This should, for now, net them the neutral hill once again.
Wow. Once again, a lot of action breaking it down. Hive, though, still in control against all odds. Respawn economy getting low, though, for Tidy as well as TJ. Tiny hasn't spawned up yet. He's going to go ahead and save it for the time being to come in the second half with potentially 2. A nice shot from Kyle. Hefe as well. And Hive is easily going to be able to take this 250 to around 180 mark despite Gods trying to overtake E. I don't even think they can make it a well. I say that, and F, in fact, did start going down just a little bit. Not going to happen. And Hive, since the second half, hasn't slowed down one bit. Gods, they are starting to bleed, and Hive is taking advantage of that. In fact, Hive offered the second half, have won 3 games in a row to bring it up 5-4. Will the Gods be able to turn things back around? I don't know at this point, Ryan. I mean, hey, first half was great. Second half, totally different story.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to see now both drop shots being halved. Now it's going to be both power weapons sitting at 75-second respawn time. So we have, what, a potential for 5 more rounds. It's going to be a lot of explosions coming over to bunker. You're still seeing nothing placed in the center line just yet. Let's see what these teams can do, what adjustments can be made over towards that neutral hill. There's a lot of mayhem last time before that hill finally got capped.
Ooh, I like the aggression from Fragout. He goes ahead and gets straight into the battle. Not going to work out, though. It's Demise from underneath. He gets the angle on him. He'll take him out. Demise getting very aggressive onto Speedy. He'll make him pay for it. Says, sit down. Speedy, once again, slaying out this, or at least this entire game so far, so incredibly well overall. And Hive wins the initial. They've got D and E. Now God's trying to recover. You got Fragout at 1 respawn. You got Kyle as well in the same boat. At this point in time, Gods really have to start thinking, is getting aggressive worth it? Do we need to go ahead and start maintaining our lives? Well, you look at the scoreline. They've lost 3 games or 3 rounds in a row, rather, and Gods is thinking, what can we do to break this cycle? So it seems as if they're starting to get desperate. They're starting to get overly aggressive and not thinking about the rotations. That's what was winning them the game, or at least the rounds previously in the first half. This round, seems like they're just throwing their bodies to Hive, and Hive is taking advantage of that.
Yeah, basically you're just seeing Hive trying to fight back up towards this sort of neutral hill, this push and pull fight when it comes to he's kind of running up that hill towards defending the hill. Looked like things were going in God's favor sort of on the defensive end. Ended up being Hive, who got sort of the only sole kill. Looks like they haven't decided to go up there just yet. They're going to wait to go back to spawn, pick up those power weapons, and try to take this retake with a little more explosion on their hands. The break almost came in. It's going to be Tidy. Had it just sort of at the 1% line before he was taken out. So the neutral hill still in favor of Gods. Drop shot starts to come in. It's going to be Demise missing, though. So now it's like Gods might have a little bit of an upper hand here as Fragout shoots the boom, makes them pay. Numbers once again in God's hands as they defend this neutral hill.
There is going to be one sole player from Hive who's actually rotated all the way around over towards the F hill, maybe trying to get the double home hill set up by himself, or at least waiting for Hive to get that nice setup onto E, maybe sneak a triple cap. It's all possible if that sole player from Hive is over there. But like I said, or like you said earlier, the respawns are a little bit lower, so it might not be worth it. But Hive, at this point, they need to get to work. God's about to win a round after a dry spell. Hefe up close with the draw, or excuse me, the boom is going to be able to finish off 1. He finally gets neutralization. But is it going to be enough? It seems as if that player from Hive was in fact taken out. He's not going to be an F anymore. And as you can see, Gods, they're going to win in just under 30 seconds. So this is the last desperation push Hive needs to take.
Yeah, it looks like Gods right now doing everything they need to do.
Look at TJ.
In order to, yeah, except Demise sort of knows that the only sort of play they have is to get sort of a split push in, get a hold of both of those hills. Gods knows that Gods has defenders sitting at each one of the hills, so not enough the Hive can do. Too little, too late once again, and now we find ourselves sitting at 5-5. We knew this would be one of our closest round 1 matchups, and we are getting just that. We are headed right down to the wire.
So I like that, actually. You know, at the very beginning of that round, I was very critical. I was like, you know, Gods are making desperation pushes. They're throwing their bodies at Hives. But overall, though, Gods currently, they were worried about that respawn economy at least. They wanted to slay out, and they did just that. Towards the end, I noticed onto the side of Hive, it was TJ and Tidy who were sitting at a total of 0 respawns. Ended up being a 5v3. Now, granted, Gods, they were in very much so control at the very end of it. But regardless, with that being said, they were able to take over that round. Now, the first lock is going to come through, and the bottom on radar, the drop shot, is in fact going to be locked for 3 rounds, so Gods are not going to be able to use that.
Yeah, it looks like both teams elected to use that lock, so now you're going to only see boom shots for 3 more rounds. Looks like we would not see drop shots till a potential final round. So you're going to see a little more Lancer play, right? A little more gun play. Where's that neutral once those booms are out of ammo? TJ starting the party up, getting that first blood. Speedy and Noxious answer back. It is going to be Demise and Hefe, I'm sorry, who are there for the trades, currently sitting at a 4v2 situation in favor of Hive. Does he know that Speedy's there? He does not. Speedy definitely always loves to have the power weapon in his hands for a good reason. He used that boom shot to take out Hefe. Watches his teammates in front of him get taken out. So much push and pull, right? So many trades coming in. Tidy versus Speedy is a big fight over towards this neutral. Speedy is being the offensive player.
Oh no,
and
that's
hits
huge!
him with the nice back A, rips his head clean off. That's going to give Gods a little more presence. He's going to be on both sides. Can he make the big play onto Demise? He gets the down with a little bit of help from his teammates. Speedy is doing everything he desires over at that E hill. Gods looking poised to get the cap on this neutral hill and win yet another initial on bunker.
And what's so huge about that, right? We talked about the respawn economy. TJ now is on his last life. So is Tidy, and both of them died off the initial to some great plays from Hefe. Finally, Hefe is in fact going to be dropped, but TJ is going to answer back onto Noxious. But overall, things could get very messy. TJ, he's got to take his time. He's got to play patiently, but that also puts him out of the running for getting aggressive, maybe pushing into these hills, breaking them, because he knows he's got to maintain his life. He goes down. It's going to be an automatic 5v4. TJ and Tidy, they both go down automatic 5v3 the entire time. So overall, things are getting a bit tricky. Gods, though, I will say they're turning things around. If they win this, they're one round away from taking game one in the best of three in round one on the bracket.
Yeah, Hive, they have a little bit of a presence up towards E, but they just know that's given that E hill, you cannot just run right on there and go for that break. You definitely need a coordinated push. You need some numbers because that sort of hill is just sort of you're a sitting duck down there, right? If you don't get there.
out.
Yeah, that's going to be 0 lives left. And now Hive going to be sort of at a permanent 5v4 for the remainder of this round. Demise going to answer back. This will be a huge round for Hive if they can manage to get away down in numbers, but it looks like things are once again in the favor of Gods. Hefe is going to be just stuck between a rock and a hard place. Going to likely be angled out from the members of Gods. You see Frag out making the smart play. Sit back, value his life, not go down for no reason. Speedy's going to get dropped. He's going to miss his shot though. Hefe's going to make the play. He's going to hop on E. It's going to buy them a little more time. Speedy going to still be down. He's going to take himself out. Again, Gods, they just have so much control now. They still have both home hills. Hive needs to do so much. The D hill is starting to be decapped. Can they make their way over towards F as well? It's like so far they haven't been able to. Without that break, maybe another round for Gods.
I think that's going to be it. Tidy.
Yeah,
There's not a lot he can do, despite Hefe coming through and getting two players, Kyle and Frag out. I mean, you're only going to eliminate at least one respawn, but it's going to be, of course, recovered going into this game. Tidy, good job. Even though Hive loses that round, he was down to 8% health, and he managed to come through, get a nice two-piece onto Gods, and maintain his life to at least try to give Hive some type or some sort of glimmer of hope to maybe make that comeback in the end. But the round ends in just the same result. Gods will take it. Now up 6-5. It took them losing 3 straight rounds to get to this point. But hey, the means justify the ends, right? So if Gods wins this last one, they can forget about losing those string of rounds. It doesn't matter because they won game one.
Absolutely. You're going to see both teams putting some utility in play now. Again, both kind of just mirroring what each other are doing. We do see definitely the setup quite a bit in Escalation 2.0. A lot of explosive. Of course, those drops still being locked for 2 more rounds. Hopping on board with Frag out as he heads up over towards that bunker area himself. Saving up by members of Hive. Boom shot in the hands of Hefe and a boom shot in the hand of Speedy.
Frag out's got to be careful. Definitely taking their time. You noticed in previous rounds, teams were getting very aggressive pushing in onto E, and you would see a ton of bloodshed, right, onto this focal point, onto this hill. Not the case here. Everybody understanding, respawn economy is getting low. They want to take their time, be very cautious, and a great kill onto Tidy from Frag out. He'll focus his attention onto TJ, who gets dropped in the meantime. So Tidy now down to 0 lives once again, like in the previous round. TJ as well, down to 0 lives. Now they've got to play a little bit slower, but look at the map control currently from Gods. Hive, they've got the double home hill setup, but is it going to be enough?
It looks like Frag out to play some defense. He's going to be pushed very, very quickly by Noe. Double home hill, like you mentioned, in Hive's hands. They're looking to go for the 3-cap right now. Noe's sitting right over there. Has to be careful, though. Speedy, with his signature boom shot, is there and waiting. You see Noe trying to bait him out a little bit. You see he did a little bit of a shimmy there, a little back roll, trying to get Speedy to shoot that boom shot. Speedy knows better. Goes for that active. He's going to likely get one of these, right? You got to imagine, out of all these players sitting there, he's got to get one. He does, in fact, get that boom shot kill onto Demise, but he's taking a full red, I should say, and a lot of his teammates going down as well. Things looking good for Hive. They get that 2-cap back. They had the double home hill. Now they have that E-hill. Definitely a much more comfortable position to be in because now they get to kind of sit back and play that defense.
Hefe's going to have to go big and really back up TJ if TJ decides to push forward or if he gets pushed on, which might be the case. Might be what's happening. Sleepy Time is in fact going to be pushing over on 2-hill. And you see that fight going down. Noxious will pick up a nice kill onto Noe. And Hefe does win the fight onto Sleepy with TJ winning onto Noxious. So these guys are clutching up. They're winning their crucial fights when they need to. You hear the Dawn coming in. And it looks as if Hive is, in fact, going to take that round. So we're now into a round 13, Emergence days, the Ryan Reflections duo coming at you. And we're already bringing it back with the round 13. Happens every time.
And look at Speedy sitting there with 55 eliminations through these first.
So in Gears 5, how common is that? In Gears 5?
That many eliminations?
That many eliminations.
I mean, Speedy is definitely one of the more involved players in the team fights. Definitely gets his hands in the game a lot more. Obviously uses power weapons a lot, so he's definitely outside of being one of the most skilled players, in the whole Gears of War scene. He's definitely sort of in the middle of all these team fights. So I think Jacob PR did a big stat sheet. And I do believe that Speedy might have either the highest or one of the top 3 or 4 highest eliminations per match. So definitely no surprise to see him sort of at the top of the leaderboards. Like I said, he loves being in the middle of those fights, getting those kills. We saw him get a number of 2-pieces. So by no means am I surprised. By no means am I surprised to see Speedy lighten up the stat sheet, right? But keep in mind, we are playing Gears of War 5 now. We do no longer have kills on the score sheet, right? We have eliminations. Now you sort of get credit for elimination if you put any sort of damage in, if you give some sort of assist, whatever it may be, you do get elimination. So it just kind of shows how involved Speedy is, right? How much of an impact he has for this Gods team. 55
kills, man. It does seem like a lot of kills. I mean, if you look at it up, especially now going into round 13, pretty crazy to say. So we'll have to watch out for moving forward, of course. I'd say this is definitely one of the best rounds to kind of start off with. We saw the outlines of Noxious down there getting into a fight onto Demise, and some trades will happen as explodes are going to be utilized, and it seems as if Hive was trying to make a push over towards E to get that locked in. Not going to happen. Speedy, though, he'll go ahead and throw his hat into the ring, and D&E might be capped, not just yet. Hive did a great job of keeping them at bay, but once these fights are finished, I do believe God should be able to easily get control. There's going to be one more player up top, and finally, Gods managed to get, there it is. Okay, they finally get the neutral hill. They got D&E. They'll start maintaining that point lead. And Hive, what are they going to be up to, right? TJ's now, once again, at 0 respawns. I know it's the last game, but he's got to play his life. He did great doing that last round, especially he was sitting at 0 for quite some time. Curious if he'll be doing the same here. But overall, let's see what Demise is going to be up to. He's making a nice push onto Sleepy. No, he mantles over, though. Does a little juke. And Sleepy will get dropped in the meantime, but quickly traded off because of Explode. It's insanity. There's too many Explodes.
Definitely a lot of explodes going down in Escalation 2.0. You're going to see Noe putting that boom shot to use, taking out Frag out. Try and get that break. You mentioned Gods. With that lead, he does starts with the break. Really get the full cab. Looks like Noxious, no choice but to back off. Speedy's going to be there to meet him, not trying to allow Noe to cap that hill. Kyle going to try and come into the flank. He's going to be taken down from the combination of Noe and Hefe. At the same time, Speedy's going to go ahead and take out Tidy. Noxious sitting behind that E-hill. I don't know if they know he's there. They do. They flash him out, try to get him at least to not be able to get some team fire. And Noe gets the beautiful back A on the Speedy. Trades back and forth. Now Demise takes on Noxious. It looks like the E-hill is being taken over by Hive. They're making a last-second push. No, he misses what could have been a huge chunk to give them true numbers. Instead, they still managed to get that neutral hill. Hive needs to control this 2-cap if they want to win this round 13. They at least need to close this time gap. They will do it at this pace. Keep in mind, you're going to see it in the top of your screen. COG team will win in 45. That does mean they are in position with this 2-cap. It's going to be up to them to play defense. It's going to be up to Gods to go ahead and get that break and maintain that lead before it's gone. Boom shots in the hands of both teams. Demise gets one.
Kyle's gone.
Hefe's looking to get 2. Kyle's down. Can he get the full kill? Fragout goes down as well.
All right, so
Kyle still hasn't been taken out.
Okay, so Kyle's actually going to be
back in the game.
He's back in the game. Frag's out, so TJ is out as well. It's going to be a 4v4 at this current time. Tidy trying to maintain his life as well. He goes down. It's now going to be a 4v2, but you're also going to be thinking on the other side, right? Noxious, he's out of respawns, but you hear the dog coming through. Right now, Hive's about to take it. 230 to 225. Hefe doing a great job keeping the team at bay.
They got DNF.
And Hive is going to take it in the end at 250. Good stuff from him. And Hive, it took a long time to get there. It took 13 rounds. But Hive takes it in the end with a final score of 7-6. And, of course, match MVP. Got to give it to Speedy. Are you kidding me? Fantastic work from him. How many kills did he finish with?
61 eliminations.
Oh
Hey, no, he wasn't too far behind him. No, he had 54 himself.
54, 61, but come on. Like, what is the kill record currently? Is there even an unofficial kill record or something?
I actually don't know. Maybe someone in the chat might know sort of what the highest we've seen, at least on stream, is. I haven't seen. I'm not quite sure what the highest is. That's 60 is a lot, but we have seen a number of 60 bombs. But by no means is that an easy feat, right? 60 eliminations is definitely quite a bit. So a great map by Speedy. Unfortunately, like you mentioned, just wasn't enough. Hive made the late push. They held the hills where they needed to, and the young guns showing composure in that round 13, right? You're seeing these guys getting more and more experience, more and more round 13s under their belt, and they're able to take it against a very experienced team in God. So, man, we knew this would be a good matchup. And
it was great. It was
map
great.
one. You can't ask for anything else better,
listen,
right? 13 rounds.
You know you're